The biggest shift was the awakening, where I became a lot more reflective, and I realized most people are unconscious. They're awake, but literally sleepwalking their way through life, no clue about their emotions. You almost feel like you have to shake people. It's like, can I shake you just to get you to wake up, to understand what's going on? You've been around for a while in the Planet Paul world. What's the number one thing you've learned from me? I always like to ask this question. I always love to know how I've made a difference. What's the thing that you've got of all the things I've taught you
Boy.
over the years? What's the one thing where you go, I'm glad I paid my money for that?
Yeah, there's a lot of Paulisms I hold on to, so it's going to take me a couple.
Do your kids speak English yet? Do they swear in English?
They scream in English? I don't know if they swear.
I always know I've made an impact when somebody
Yeah.
says to me, my kids swear in English.
Yeah.
My kids have started to use language. Obviously, people listen to my podcast, and there's the occasional cursing or French, as we like to call it in England. We'll say it's French when we speak in a language. And if your kids have picked up on that, then I've definitely made a good impact on your life somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, it's probably not like a specific sentence line, but more of like the thinking around, you know, people in general, that they come with certain beliefs, perspectives, not right or wrong, but I think we tend to either judge that or analyze that, but it's just, you know, this almost like a different side of the world, and you have to kind of take that with what it is and not let that affect you as, oh, why are they thinking that, or how's that, you know, am I wrong? And it's just, you know, people are just seeing things differently. I think obviously the example around, let's say, the cash pay, right? There's this kind of philosophical idea around insurance, and why does some person think, oh yeah, I'll happily pay that, and another person not. So it's not about, you know, our offer or cash. It's just kind of their understanding around that, and same with, you know, obviously anything else around kind of the philosophy of things, or thinking. So I think that way it just helps easily take any emotion out of it, separate ourselves from kind of the outcome, so to speak, a little bit. So yeah, kind of I don't know if that made any sense, but I definitely feel like that has helped.
It does.
Think about a lot,
it does. It again, it's reflective of my journey, Michael. It's the thing that we're talking about there is consciousness, right? Without getting too woo woo or going off on anything like that. There's almost an awakening of self, right? You're the first day that you begin, I think, to make real improvements in yourself. So I experienced it as a business owner. The first day that my income really started to move was when I stopped thinking of myself as a physio and I became a marketer. Period. Right. And whether that's something that anybody likes listening to this podcast, there is an undeniable truth in every business owner's life. The day you move from being the guy who does the thing to being the marketer of the thing, your income 10x's. That is true. And it's true in every business, whether I'm a dentist, whether I'm a physio, whether I'm a doctor, whether I'm a pool cleaner or a mechanic. If I'm cleaning the pool, I can earn $25 an hour. If I become a marketer for a pool cleaning company, I can earn $250,000, bringing in $2 million a year for the pool cleaning company business. That is a fact. And anybody who tries to violate that struggles, right? But they do, because of academia, and the colleges have taught them that that's not true. And some lecturers told them that it's sleazy to market and to be salesy and all this bollocks that goes with it. Meanwhile, there they are struggling to pay off a fucking student loan debt, influenced by a lecturer struggling to pay off his or her debt still, right? It doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out that this shit doesn't work. So for me, the marketer was the big shift. But from a personal point of view, the biggest shift, and it coincided with studying marketing because I had to understand people, but to understand people, I had to understand myself. The biggest shift was the awakening, where I became a lot more reflective, and I realized most people are unconscious. Like they're unconscious, they're awake, but literally sleepwalking their way through life, no clue about their emotions. That like you almost feel like you have to shake people. It's like, can I shake you just to get you to wake up, to understand what's going on? So the more that you understand people, it actually, if you've understood people better and what they're saying and how they're going to react, and you're probably 2 steps ahead of their objections or their no's or their bullshit or whatever it will be, that actually means that you've probably come out of your own unconsciousness. Like you've woken up in order to recognize all of this going on. But to recognize it in other people, you had to recognize it in yourself first. And that's where I would say all of life's enjoyment comes from. If you can get to that point where you can recognize the shit going on in your own emotions, and you can be calm, and you can spot your own failings, and you're aware of who you are, and, you know, all of that stuff, then you're significantly more likely to enjoy your life because you're not consumed by shit. So I think it's a vital tool to have in the belt, because you're going to have a lot of shit going on in business, and the more that you can be aware of it and them and people, and the predictable or unpredictableness of people, which actually is predictable, like the more that you see it predictably irrational, as the book goes, it's much easier to enjoy the game of business. So it doesn't surprise me, and it's certainly one of the things that I try to share with people, is to just a better understanding of themselves and enjoy life because of that, and become a better dad because of it, and a better business owner, and people want to hang out with you, and it's easy to inspire a team who want to follow you, and boom, so many good things happen as a result of that when you become more conscious to your the beliefs that are serving you well. Not, as I believe, this is just my opinion, but I believe most people are unconsciously, hypnotically stuck in a rhythm of belief patterns that aren't serving them well, that they have no clue is happening, and there is no end, which why it doesn't make any difference who the government is. It doesn't make any difference whether you tax me more. It doesn't make any difference whether Biden wants to tax my wealth, or Governor Newsom over there wants to tax me for fucking breathing when I get to a certain point of taxation or income. It makes no difference whatsoever to people's real predicament, which is they're stuck in an unconscious rhythm of negative beliefs, false views, outdated views of themselves, always believing that the problem is out there. Newsom and Biden and Trump and all these guys are brilliant to tell you that the solution is external, when really the actual solution is always internal. And if you fix that, the money side of it becomes very, very easy. I'm yet to see very few people who didn't fix the internal shit that got the money. Now, they might have won the lottery, they might have got an inheritance, they might have been lucky, but it's very difficult for us to replicate that. But you can replicate it when you figure out your own shit internally, and you deal with your own shit, and you stand up and go, hey, this is who I am. Musk, I'm not a huge fan, for or against. He is what he is, but I get the impression he's figured his shit out. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit, rightly or wrongly. He doesn't give a shit what you think. Doesn't care. And this is what I'm going to do, and this is where I'm going. That guy's figured his shit out. Like, whether I agree with his opinions or his ways of running a business, how he deals with his staff, whether I agree with his 9 kids and his 16 wives or whatever, it's not for me to judge. But I'll be pretty certain that guy is nailed the internal thing where he's just like, that's who I am, that's what I'm about, these are the decisions I'm going to make, and that's where I'm going with my life. And I bet you he's a pretty happy guy, having a little bit of fun, versus somebody who's a bit miserable and broke. At least he's having a go, So I'm fully in favor of people who are living their own lives, as long as they're not reckless and they're not intentionally going out of their way to hurt people. We can all have different views and different opinions of how we think a business should be run, or what politics should be, or whatever. But if you're trying to think that you can fix somebody's predicament with a higher tax bracket over there in California. What did I read recently? Newsom was, I don't know if this was recent, but I don't think I've ribbed California for a little while, but it was something to do with when I hit a certain level of income, I'm going to pay more for my gas or my electricity in California. I don't even know if that's come in yet. But I'd read that's one of his brainwaves, that I, as a higher income earner, should be paying twice as much for my electric as a punishment. It's not fair, even though I use the same level of electric as the guy in a different part of California, because I have a higher income bracket, I should be punished for having air conditioning. That's what it was. It's
not surprised.
It's not something that I should have worked for and be allowed to decide whether I want my AC on at 60 degrees all night or all day. I should be punished for having that ability to do it. I've got off my ass and gone to work and nailed my shit together, but I'm punished, and I have to have my aircon on at 80 degrees with everybody else, because that's not fair if I'm cool at night, nobody else is. What world do we live in?
I guess I'm raising my rates again.
Good.
Yeah,
I hope you do. That's the moral of the story. It's the answer to most of our problems in business. We just don't charge enough to provide the level of service that people want, or to make it worthwhile. So